this. We'll kind of explain it a little bit as we go. So Kuro, or Amel, is playing Ursa. He's playing Yamoy. He's playing Skywrath Mage. And he's also playing some green heroes. Both players have a tricolor deck.
Ooh, I'm seeing some power cards in Kuro's hand. I like it. I like what I'm seeing here. Thunderhide Alpha. 9 mana for a 25/25. Not bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, this if this punches you in the tower, you are basically done. But of course, very expensive. Hard to get to that turn. And likewise, Bolt of Damocles.
Oh man,
the most expensive card in the game. Immediately deal 20 damage to the enemy tower. So if Kuro makes it to the 9 and 10 mana turns, it's gonna be very good for him.
Ooh, turn 1 Relentless Pursuit. Now that card lets you randomly jump one of your black heroes.
I wish I would have had one of these myself.
Into a different lane. Yo Larson joining us on the couch, and now we see Necrofalls in that second lane.
So I love this start that happened here. Basically, GameKing spawned his Necrophos, a weak hero, into Kuro's Ursa, and just dips out, uses Relentless Pursuit, dealing a bit of damage and bailing Necrophos out of that lane. So we have GameKing. He has the ability to play Spot Weakness here. This doesn't really do anything right now, but if he wants to, he can just cycle this and try to get a different card because it does draw a card. Gonna save it for later, though.
I think I would just cycle it. Earlier the better, because if you look at the heroes that Kuro has, he doesn't exactly have, for example, an axe or a bristleback that will be getting a lot of armor throughout the game. So
it does have Ursa though.
So what GameKing is thinking by saving it, what GameKing is thinking by saving it here is he's looking at Kuro's deck and specifically seeing a Bronze Legionnaire.
Sure. Yeah.
So if Kuro had played the Bronze Legionnaire here and then GameKing retaliated with Spot Weakness, which of course gives piercing, he would be able to kill it through its armor.
There's also the enrage from Ursa.
Yep.
+4 armor, +4 attack.
Yeah.
Just a very minor optimization. So we're going to see the deployments here. GameKing's got the Skywrath Mage, a very powerful signature card on the 6-mana Mystic Flare. And Kuro's got Yamoy with a very less powerful signature card, Battlefield Control, which basically just allows you to change the combat arrow of any unit of your choice.
Now again, both players, when they're making these deployments, they're doing it blindly, so they don't know where the opponent's deploying until they have made their decision. But you could kind of guess that GameKing can't really put his blue hero in front of that Ursa. It just automatically dies. And you generally don't want to put Skywrath Mage in the middle when you have 2 other heroes already. So you could kind of logically deduce that Skywrath Mage will most likely always go to the final lane.
Yeah, and not in front of Ursa either in the first lane, right?
Yep. So when in doubt, like in the early game especially, if you want to tell like which players are pushing for each lanes, just look at the amount of heroes you have. Kuro is basically kind of winning left. We've got the Ursa here. Of course, GameKing's winning mid with 2 heroes against 1, and both players are competing evenly for the right lane in the kind of 2-on-2.
Kuro's deck seems to be quite a brew, to say the least. There's a lot of cards going in different directions, a lot of colors.
Yep. Tricolor in both directions. Got some very powerful late game drops on the side of GameKing as well. He's got Lich with Chain Frost, one of the strongest signature cards in the entire game. This is going to be a massive threat on turn 7 when this comes out.
Love Lich. I said both days, like, I hope I open Lich. It's not necessarily the best hero, but God, he's good. Oh, Lord.
Kuro gonna go for a hero kill here using Battlefield Control, changing the target of that melee creep into the Sven.
Yep.
Makes
Tower
sense
Barrage,
because
though,
next turn
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster is dying from Sven, right? So kind of want to get it off there before that happens.
Yep. I'd love to see this Tower Barrage come down, basically threaten the Beastmaster to dying to the Sven, as well as this creep to the Skywrath, because this deals 2 damage to just everything on Kuro's side.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's not... It's very unlikely that it's going to get better than this ever.
Yeah.
You can't really see any... like, there's no, like, Kana with Pre of the Week or whatever in Kuro's deck, so that can go real wide.
Kuroky is actually deciding to save the Relentless Zombie. This is a bit of an interesting unit. If you're him, you could have played this just proactively on the right lane. A Death Shield means when it would die, otherwise it survives at 1 health. So it's basically kind of 2 bodies for the price of 1. Presumably, he actually wants to use this as a defender, maybe putting Skywrath mid and just putting this in front of something like Bristleback, chumping 16 damage worth of attacks.
Yeah, notably, you can also see in Kuro's deck, it's very much built for the late game, having Beastmaster with Primal Roar, but already in his hand he has Bolt of Damocles and Thunderhide Alpha. Both 9 and 10 mana, and I think Kuro just wants to go for survive until that point. So then 2 damage to the face is not that important, but way more important to save it for a defensive situation.
That's exactly right. If you're Kuroky, all you want to do is stall. Stay alive. It's just force the opponent's game plan to go slower, use your stuff like safer, and just extend the game length.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be real strong real soon.
Yep.
There's a lot of strength there in GameKing's hand.
At the same time, GameKing has a very powerful late game as well. Chain Frost has the 3 of Mystic Flare, Steam Cannon, as well as even Incarnation of Salamene.
Yeah,
a card you're a fan of, Yoel.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, I like casting all my cards in my hand, and even more so.
Well, I think you're a fan as well, seeing that these are the decks that you're going to go up against, because you're going to play against one of these 2 decks. And honestly, both these decks are very strong late game, but can they make it there is generally the question.
I think I'm way more scared about GameKing's deck, though, because Chain Frost is really scary, double pickoff is really scary.
Sure.
So I gotta say,
Sven is like annoying because it cleaves your creeps, but Gold Strength is really bad against my deck, so it's a bit of both there.
Speaking of pickoff, we got a really, really good pickoff play from GameKing there. A little subtle, but basically taking this 4/6 Farvran down to 4/2, and the Heartstopper aura he put on Necrophos the turn before is going to trigger. This is Necrophos' signature card, and it's a permanent modify. We'll see how it works exactly here, but this will kill Farvran before it has the opportunity to play anything.
Also makes it so that Necrophos survives without any other plays.
Yep.
And also gets another health from its other passive ability.
So a really nice 1-2 setup combo by GameKing.
Yeah.
Just want to make an announcement for those watching the chat. We're going to be posting the deck lists up for everyone, so if you want to see these 2 deck lists, you can check Reddit. I posted a thread, and also we'll be tweeting it out on social and putting it in the Twitch chat. So if you want to see these 2 guys, all 8 top 8 deck lists are on there, so follow along with that. You can click on the cards however you want. So you know that'll make it a little easier as you check these out.
That's really good for Kuro here, because he's planning to play that Relentless Zombie, which is so much better this turn than earlier, because not only is it gonna block Bristleback twice, but it's also gonna deal 4 this turn and 2 next turn because of the minus armor this turn from Skywrath Mage. Also the thing that GameKing used his Assassin's Veil means that he can't redirect the damage from Bristleback onto Skywrath Mage. So
yeah, something very unfortunate for the zombie. I think Kuro definitely did want to play the zombie earlier, and there it goes. But this won't be able to block Bristleback twice just due to Necrophos' Heartstopper aura triggering again, killing it next turn. Keep in mind this goes every turn.
Well, Kuro was kind of hoping that he could get this Necrophos also, right?
Yes.
This would be a very good tower barrage as well. Keep in mind that the Skywrath Mage just used his concussive shot earlier, so everyone has a -2 armor. So now tower barrage deals 4 to everything. We'll clear out the creep on the left, deal 4 to the Bristleback.
And the
Necrophos. So can't force a kill on any important hero, but
do you think it's correct to play the Furlind Mantle?
I think that the Furland Mantle, if you're Kuroky, basically you're looking at these tools, not just Tower Barrage, but Furland Mantle, and you zoom out, right? You look at mid lane, but you also look at right lane, because Furland Mantle and Tower Barrage are both very good tools here. So taking the Furland Mantle on Skywrath Mage.
I like playing it here because you haven't drawn any signature copy of Skywrath Mage's card yet, Mystic Flare.
Yep.
And if you do draw, Mystic Flare will clean up this board very nicely. So I think it's more important to keep this blue hero alive than the other.
I agree. Also, you have more lane presence here with your creep, so it's going to be easier if you place another red hero here to kind of take over the lane. Additionally, it's going to be easier to take it over because GameKing doesn't want to put Sven here because he doesn't want to duplicate his red heroes. Especially with so many red cards in his hand, he kind of want to be able to play them out in different lanes.
Oh, he's going to save his Tower Barrage. I guess he's going to use it here?
Yeah, it seems like maybe he's going to stay the Magician plus Foresight.
I'd love to see a Satyr Magician in front of this creep right here, which will basically redirect this arrow, combat arrow, and keep Jimoy alive, as well as a refresh of its ability. Satyr Magician has the unique ability to restore your mana, even including the turn you play it, and then you can immediately Tower Barrage right after.
For those who saw my games yesterday, surely remembers.
Not everyone's watching all of your game goals. But yes,
As I said, for those who watch my games.
you did have 2 of those in your deck, and you were casting a bunch of Thunder God.
Ooh.
Okay,
This
so
is a bad placement from Kuro, I think.
well, I think he's just soaking as much damage as possibly can, right? He just wanna.
Yeah, so he wants to get his Jamoy out of here. Why did it then save Tower Barrage?
It looks like with the Satyr Magician, he put it on the right side because he was playing around Skywrath's Concussive Shot, which you can see is off cooldown. If he plays it to the right of Jamoy directly, Concussive Shot comes down, Jamoy dies to the creep anyway.
Sure, but no, not really, because if he plays Tower Barrage, it survives, right? Kills the creep in front of it, Satyr Magician blocks the other one, goes down to 1 life also, and the creep dies anyway, so Satyr Magician might even be safe. I feel like Kuro kind of changed his mind here midway, which is okay. Like, if you figure out that, oh, maybe this is the better, even though I kind of committed to the first one, you should definitely like think about that and not be like, okay, now I already committed, so I gotta do this. It's called, what is it called? Sunk fallacy?
Yeah,
Sunk cost fallacy.
Sunk cost fallacy, yeah.
So we've got a pretty strong left lane here for GameKing, and he does have initiative. 3 copies of Sven's signature in his hand, God's Strength. Not an amazing card, but it will start putting out a lot of damage.
Kuro just top decked 2 very important cards here. So the first card in his hand is called Enrage. It gives a red hero +4 attack and +4 armor this round, which allows the Ursa here to survive and of course still force the kill on Lich.
Yep.
That looks pretty good. And then the second card that he just drew is Mystic Flare, which is the card I mentioned last turn, where now you're spreading a huge amount of AoE damage. And is it going to be enough to actually kill the middle lane? I guess we'll see once we get there.
So GameKing just played Clear the Deck. This temporarily gives your heroes +4 cleave, which will basically just allow him to clean up both this Bronze Legionnaire as well as this melee creep over here. We see the Enraged play Lumi mentioned, and this will keep the Ursa alive. What can GameKing do to threaten this? Not very much here.
He can keep priority, and he can also... No, that was a short sword, okay. Ooh, Kuro's super happy about getting priority back here for this Mystic Flare.
Yep, this is
Pretty
going to be a pretty huge Mystic
Yeah,
Flare here.
I don't like that. I guess GameKing is playing for if there's a creep, he can cleave the Ursa to death.
So keep in mind, Mystic Flare deals 12 evenly among its allied neighbors. So if you cast it on Bristle, these all take 4. But if you cast it on Necrophos, since there's only 1 allied neighbor, it deals 6 to Necrophos and then 6 to Bristleback, killing them both perfectly.
Yeah. Now we'll see how greedy Kuro is.
So the greedy play here is you could start the turn off by playing Aghanim Sanctum, which is an improvement that allows you to refresh your mana and then play Mystic Flare. But of course, if you play Aghanim Sanctum, then it allows GameKing. Ooh, he's not even thinking about that. He's just going full on aggressive.
Yeah, I would have loved the Mystic Flare. Maybe it didn't. It's very possible that Kuro didn't think of the idea of playing it on Necrophos and thought, oh, I can only deal 4 to each target.
Right.
It would make the most sense. Also, you might think that Aghanim Sanctum is broken, and it is very good, but as you've seen, for those who watched the tournament, initiative is very important. So that's the downside with Aghanim Sanctum, that it costs 1 initiative to play it and 1 to activate it. And your opponent can do a lot of stuff during that. But once you get it engaged in a lane that you're winning, then it can be very powerful.
Ooh, pretty cute play here by Kuro. He Assassin's Veil and targets a Beastmaster, fully knowing that his Heartstopper aura will do what we call an upkeep kill on the next turn.
Which is way better than killing it this turn.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, this Skywrath Mage is already dying, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not
So
the Beastmaster.
basically, killing it next turn off of the Heartstopper or a trigger, it just ensures it will stay dead for an extra turn, which is huge.
Yeah, I think that mistake could be fatal, actually, the one that not playing the Mystic Flare that turn.
Yeah.
I think Kuro would have been incredibly ahead, because he's going to lose his blue here now. Can't cast... Well, he can cast Mystic Flare if he places Jamoy there, but it's way less powerful. And if he would have kept all of his heroes, next turn he could have gone for Sanctum plus Dimensional Portal plus a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So if you're looking at next turn, we have Kuroky developing both Farvaran and Jamoy here. GameKing's not developing anything on this deployment, so we'll have to see where Kuroky places these.
So maybe he has to go for the right lane now that mid lane is going to be way harder to maybe he plays like a Farvan in the mid lane. Goes for the 50-50, not being in front of Bristleback. And then he puts Jamoy on the right to kill 2 creeps and the Skywrath Mage for the Mystic Flare, or at least hopes to do so. He still has that Satyr there, so that, I mean, it's a pretty powerful card if it survives to take over a lane.
I like this Farvern being developed left. You see this tower at 18, and you want to kind of finish it off because this lane is not really doing well on its own.
I mean, since there's already a creep coming there, you kind of have to commit some kind of health item to Ursa anyways, because... Like, if there was not a creep there, I'm not sure I would have liked to put Farvern there, because this means Sven actually cleaves onto Ursa.
Yes.
I guess he gets 1 armor, so... But it's very likely that Sven will have enough attack to cleave Ursa to death.
We've even got the Primal Roar. So we saw this card be a huge blowout yesterday in many games. This is Beastmaster's signature, 3 of in a deck running Beastmaster. So if he wants to, he can stun this unit here and just move Sven for free to another random lane, which is a very powerful effect.
Yep. Also works very well with cards that retarget your heroes to different spots. So you can kind of change the direction of what you want to roar.
I think we are getting to a stage of the game where initiative is super important. You see in both players' hand they have Mystic Flare, which is this big AoE move. And being able to cast that first to snipe those really weak blue heroes is pretty important, especially against the second in the final lane.
Yeah, it seems like Curry is just very much hard passing. I think he wants priority pretty bad.
Okay, so Mystic Flare cannot be casted here because of the upkeep kill that we mentioned.
Yep. I wonder if you thought about that.
And Primal Roar is not really doing anything here either, since this Beastmaster's arrow is going into this creep and will just be stunning a random melee creep. This game's not going too well for Kuroky. This mid lane is getting out of control.
It's kind of close though. So, you gotta remember that Kuro has these pretty big cards in his hand. That's
true.
You know, this is the largest creep in the game. 25-25. Thunderhide Alpha. A little bit worse than its smaller cousin, Thunderhide Pack, just because 14-14 is usually enough, and it costs 1 less mana and it has 6 siege. Very important.
So a really clean Mystic Flare, using initiative to just peel that off. You've also got 2 actives. You can draw a card with Jamoy, as well as refresh your mana to be able to play even like the Sanctum on a different lane if you want. But I'd like to see the Soothsayer come out here. I'd love this.
I love that card.
It also keeps your creep alive, because when you play a creep in front of the 2/4, it redirects that arrow. So very nice play.
Big game, big game. Something that could be super scary in the left lane here is deployment of Lich plus Chain Frost.
Yep. Now GameKing doesn't have the Chain Frost in hand, but it still is a 3 of in his deck because it's Lich's signature card. And if he draws it in the next couple of turns, it is one of the more powerful cards in the game.
Chain Frost is very good on the right side too, though. It's like gets the Soothsayer, gets probably the Magician too, maybe even Jamoy with some luck.
With the 2- armor on Lich though, deploying your Lich into a blue hero's lane is kind of scary, because your hero could just get blown up before you cast anything.
Yeah, with Mystic Flare.
Yeah, we'll see.
It is scary also to get the 50-50 in front of Ursa if you don't draw the Chain Frost.
Steam Cannon in hand here for GameKing though, instead of Chain Frost.
3 draws off of this Troll Soothsayer. She allows you to draw an extra card each round.
And Gauntlet slash Draft is a lot of... It has a lot to do with card advantage. It's a big game to be able to draw an extra card every turn if that can survive. And let's not forget that it also has 8 health, which is quite a lot.
So that's a big Sven. Primal Roar is going to come out now, scaring him to a random of the lane. This could be pretty good for Kuroky. Basically, at this point, you've got 3 enemy heroes stranded in a lane, which is a prime target for just kind of abandoning that. But we do see the Town Portal Scroll in GameKing's hand.
All the red heroes too, right? So
Yes.
Especially against a 3-color deck like this, anytime you force 2 red hero or 2 blue hero in a lane, then they're kind of just stuck for a long time.
If you don't find that.
Right.
Town Portal, of course, but it's going to take a while to get it there. So Town Portal, it's good, but it takes a while, and it takes a lot of initiatives also.
Yep, and we're also going to see the Steam Cannon being developed here. This is a very powerful card to play off of Necrophos here. And you can put it on any lane, and every single turn you get basically a free pick-off, effectively. You can deal 4 piercing damage to a unit in any lane. It's piercing, so it's even better.
It's even
Kuro's
better.
got the big answer in hand though. He's got the Smash the Defenses, which is
Yeah.
a 3-mana spell that kills an improvement.
Oh, this is
Oh,
really big.
he plays
So-
it against the red. He's not respecting the smash.
Yeah,
this is gonna
Smash
be a
is going to
huge
come
trade.
down. Now, of course, improvement can be played into any lane, so he could have played it here into the left or right lane, but instead, Smash is
This
going to
is-
claim its victim.
Not only does he get to do that, but he also trades 3 mana against for 7. Like
Yeah.
an entire turn of 3 heroes. That's just... Yeah, it's a big game.
Angrily, he's going to adjust his Assassin's Veil and kill this hero in response.
I'm not against the ghetto TP.
I think that's just bad now, right, for Kuro?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
this
a lot
is-
worse because now it dies upkeep and it takes
Yes.
longer to come back.
So by putting that item there, he survives the physical attack, but then he just dies to the Heartstopper aura anyways.
Which
Yeah,
basically
this is
just
a-
accomplishes delaying his respawn by a turn.
Pretty bad.
So if you're Kuroky right now, you got to be pretty scared of Chain Frost. We know it's not in GameKing's hand.
Not yet, at least. Lich has the active ability where you could sacrifice one of your creeps to draw a card. So,
Do you like tower barraging here? I kind of like it.
It's not
You
bad.
get the creep with 2 health, and that way a Kuroky can sacrifice that, and he has to sacrifice one that there's 3 arrows pointing towards.
I would say I like Tower Barrage. There's probably not too much to do with this. And you're drawing 3 cards with Troll Soothsayer anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing for initiative. As you mentioned before, these are the turns of the game where initiative is going to potentially dictate who wins each lane. Draws a card. There's the Chain Frost. He can play it.
Frost.
This deals 24 total damage. 8 by 3. There it is. And it will steal
my
back
God.
initiative. Troll Soothsayer is going
my
down.
God.
Jamoy could even die to this. One more bounce. Jamoy's down.
That was absolutely the optimal bounces.
Yes.
And that is
It could not get better. Literally could not get better.
the power of Lich's card.
Also
On
get
top
initiative.
of all of that, he also
Yeah.
gains initiative for left lane in the next round.
Which Kuro kind of fought hard for, too. He started passing once he saw that GameKing didn't play Shade Frost. So I think I was really hoping that, oh, he doesn't have it, I'll play for initiative.
I'd
and
love to
then-
see the Skywrath deploy mid. If you're Kuro right now, you're thinking Thunderhide Alpha left, Farvan kills it. Skywrath survives 1 turn with the Furlan Mantle, 14 health, Bolt of Damocles, 20 damage, will instantly deal with the mid tower.
Ooh, that arrow though. I guess he has battlefield control, so. Yeah, GameKing is not really close of finishing the game either. Like he's starting to get ahead, but it's not actually winning. Just yet.
GameKing just drew one of his best card in his deck, Incarnation
There
of
it is.
Salamene.
Yeah,
Basically, what that card says is you have infinite mana, and
yeah, every turn you play a card, it refreshes your mana,
incredibly
including
powerful.
itself.
yeah,
Game King can play anything in his
Can
hand
play
right now.
everything in his
Mystic
hand,
Flares
yeah.
can come down.
In this lane.
in this lane.
In this lane.
So
A double Mystic
It is
Flare on
sweet with
Farvan.
Darkseer. You can put it, like, flip it in, search it into other lanes also.
So with double Mystic Flare, you just wipe this whole board, right?
Yep.
Primal Roar is an option.
I'm in.
Primal Roar is going to come down
Yeah,
here. It's
he
going to
needs to
completely
roar.
disrupt this.
Man, Roar is so good here. It stuns the Skywrath Mage, so you can't cast any... Oh!
Oh, I don't like that at all. If it roars, he also survives the...
Yeah.
Saves the Farvan too.
Instead of roaring, he gave his hero some armor, but Mystic Flare doesn't care as it overwhelms it.
Yeah, that was a pretty major mistake, I would say. Can't really deny it.
Yeah, there's not really a better roar you're getting here, and your Beastmaster is dying to the Necrophos's
Yeah.
Heartstopper on the upkeep.
Because you gotta make sure that these heroes are gone, because otherwise it's gonna be way too easy to shump, block that Thunderhide Alpha. And what I mean by shumping is that you play something very minor or small in front of it to block it for 1 turn, even though it's dying.
Yeah.
This is kind of scary though.
At least the Thunderhide kills the Salamene, so infinite mana is now off the table.
That's okay. Already casted everything.
You already casted about 20 mana in that 1 turn. So.
I'm not sure about playing that Dimension Porter though, because now he doesn't actually have a shump blocker for the Thunderhide. Like there's a good chance he just kills it in the next turn.
Yeah, the thing about this 25-25 is that because of how combat works in Artifact, in Hearthstone terms, it's sort of like everything has taunts. If you just play a unit across from it, it will just absorb the attack. You can't attack around it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
So this is a problem for Kuroky. He needed the Skywrath to survive for 1 more turn to get to the Bolt of Damocles mana, and it looks like the Skywrath is going down here,
No, I
unfortunately.
assume he's gonna battle. Oh, this sensor is so big. It's gonna take 2 turns before he has mana for Bolt of Damocles. And I like him not. He could have. Kuro could have played Battlefield Control here just to make Skywrath Mage survive for a turn, like targeting the damage from Sven onto the tower. But now with that sensor in play, reducing Kuro's mana to 8 from 9, meaning he won't get 10 next turn, you might as well just let Skywrath Mage die, and then when it comes back, not this turn, but the next turn, then he can cast the Bolt for lethal.
Yep.
And Kuro is in a lot of trouble now. He's losing the first lane, he's losing the middle lane.
Yeah, there's a creep there too,
Yeah.
blocking the alpha.
So Kuroky can kill this left tower immediately with Bolt of Damocles. He does have initiative, but this is not the tower he needs.
Yeah, he needs to find a way to kill the creep and survive, basically. Like a thunderstorm would be optimal here.
Mystic Flare,
Flare.
but that will not allow him to survive this lane. And when this tower goes, he is out. Bolt of Damocles takes this.
Look at that animation. Boom. 20.
This tower's down.
Yeah.
Bzz, bzz, bzz.
So
But I do believe he will. Well, he could refresh and Mystic Flare and Battlefield Control.
got Sanctum.
Actually, he could survive here. If he Mystic Flare the 3 creeps that are unblocked,
Yeah.
And
then he Battlefield controls the 14 onto Jamoy, he survives.
Game
now
King
that he
will
has
be taking game
no
1 here.
more-
The second tower is going down.
Yeah, I don't know about this. Let's play. That was a mistake.
Oh, we're in, man. They queuing right back up.
Yeah.
So 2 Chain
No
Frost
time
already
to
in
waste
Game King's
for
hand. We saw the
TI
power of this
winning
card last
Kuro.
one.
Yeah. No time to waste for TI winning Kuro. He got places to be, I'm sure.
Okay, so now Kuro is on the top half of your screen instead of the bottom. And he does have one of the best cards that you can start with, which is Mist of Avernus. This is a 3 mana improvement that you could place into any lane. And what that does is it just constantly gives your entire board +1 attack permanently to all creeps, all heroes.
Can we even go as far as saying it's the best card to start with in your opening hand?
It might be, yes.
I think so.
This,
I actually think it's the
don't
best
think
card.
there's one
Yeah,
better than this.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
This card puts out just immediate ridiculous threat. He's going to slap it down on left lane, a very safe lane to choose for this effect. And this left lane, Game King is going to be extremely aware how dangerous this left lane is.
Yeah, and GameKing should know for sure that there's going to be a Jamoy planted in this lane. Like, there's just no way. Because if Jamoy comes here, he's going to get the benefit of that mist
there it
every
is.
turn. And at some point, he's going to start to look like a red hero, you know?
Game King instantly slapping this Skywrath left. He knows that
Yeah.
he has to fight for the mist lane. You cannot disrespect this card. Jamoy's
Ooh.
not coming down, though. Very
Yo,
interesting.
the double mind game. Put Mist in one lane and don't deploy anything in there.
Keep in mind,
At some point, when you go 2 mana levels, you got to think of if you may be next level yourself.
Yeah, I think Artifact's definitely one of those games that I next level myself
Yeah.
far often than not. You just overthink things.
For sure.
the important thing about Mist is every time it buffs, that buff is permanent. So
Yep.
even when it buffs a hero, that will stay. So this Beastmaster is permanently at +1 attack.
The Smeagol arm. This Smeagol was a big game. Ooh, but it has
no.
a sensor to shut it out.
Tyler Estate Sensor.
Because
denying
that
-1
arrow was
mana,
huge, but Kuro had a way to block the arrow with his creep, also giving Beastmaster +2 attack.
Yeah.
But Sensor made it so that Kuro only had 3 mana, he couldn't deploy it before his mana was reduced, basically, so that's kind of big. Or it's
And-
very big, I should say.
And that was another example why initiative is important. It generally isn't important early on, but
Yeah.
right there we saw the whole turn kind of flopped around because it was Game King that went first.
Yeah, often it's even better to be second in
Yeah.
the early game. Just because you want to respawn. You could see, for those who saw my first game, I think it was, I respected my opponent being second so much that I didn't deploy a Savage Wolf in my lane, in case they had a Selfless Cleric or
Any
Sage
negative challenge.
Duelist just eating it up. Yeah. So, because that's just such a big game. And then right after I ran into that same thing in the second game, but you know.
Pretty good deploy luck here for Kuro. When you have Mist of Avernus in that first lane, you just want to see creeps kind of being dropped in there.
Yeah.
Because they just get stronger over time.
And keep in mind, this Tyler Estate Sensor is keeping Kuroky's left lane down -1 mana as long as this stays alive. Game King's just biding his time until these Chain Frost. The nice thing about Chain Frost is not only is it a card that rewards initiative, it's a card that gets initiative. At turn 7, Game King could play this in 2 lanes back to back and just completely wipe 2 different lanes.
You mean he's chaining them together? Or is that
Yes.
how it
Yeah.
works? Okay.
Wow. See what you did there.
Just want to...
All right. Galaxy Brain plays, Lumi.
Galaxy, okay.
How many times have you shamefrosted your own units?
My own units.
Yes.
About 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
I say.
same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's so important to get initiative that you just shamefrost your own units to have initiative in the next turn. Especially if you have sweeper effects like Annihilation, where it's game winning if you actually resolve it before your opponent can remove your hero.
So Swim is hovering over a card called Blink Dagger, and it's one of the best items in the whole game.
I thought it was just admiring the nice art.
It's good art too. And
no, yeah, this is super big in this in Galtas in particular.
yeah, because you know, deploying is such an important part of the game, and sometimes you make a mistake, and Blink Dagger allows you to get your heroes at the right place at the right time.
It's huge.
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
a very flexible version of Darkseer Surge. We saw that in your game. Darkseer Surge almost was able to win Nyman both of those games. It really helped him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big for sure.
Another way to also think about Blink Dagger is you could kind of double your mana. You could cast
Yeah.
a blue spell in the first lane, and then blink your blue hero onto the third lane and cast another blue spell there. So, as our production gave us a Blink Dagger prop, thank you.
So GameKing's just trying to bide his time. I mean, these Chain Frosts are a major threat. Kuroky does not have the top-end threats in his hand yet. No Primal Roars, no Emissary, no Thunderhide, no Bolt of Damocles. And Kuroky is actually sitting on a pretty bad hand. You've got to make some good usage out of these Mystic Flares, but it's not mana turn 6 yet.
Looks like we're going to do the rescue Blink Dagger. Get him out of that lane.
Yep. The nice thing about this play is Sven's Cleave requires him to hit a unit for it to trigger. It's sort of like Siege in that way.
Yeah.
So by blinking Farven out, not only are you saving him, you're actually reducing the damage that Yamoy and this Prowler Vanguard are taking as well.
Yep. Reducing it by 1 damage.
Cleave does not work on towers. Dota mechanics coming in handy.
For sure.
But where are you blinking to? There's not a safe
You
spot
gotta
that you can blink
left.
to.
Yeah.
Right?
'cause
You
this
blink in
is-
front of the Ursa, or sorry, the Bristleback, you still die.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is the nightmare blink lane. 100% chance it spawns immediately across from this Bristleback. Whereas if you take it into the Skyreth lane, you've also got the Mist of Avernus there.
Oh,
Bristleback is a scary boy. That's for
Whoa.
sure.
Very interesting. He's actually maybe committing to try to kill this Sven here instead.
I kind of like that. Using Blink Dagger as a +2 damage item. Like otherwise you... okay.
no, he
In this-
had
in
enough.
This, in this case,
Oh,
he
yeah,
did
that's
not
true.
need the
Yeah,
+2.
that's true.
This is at 7 and -9.
Yeah, GameKing can actually save Sven with Fight Through Pain. Also get an initiative. Because it gets 2 more armor and then you reduce the damage from 2 different sources. Meaning it takes 4 less damage.
Yep.
But I think it can also be fine with this trade versus Farven. I wouldn't mind it.
Oh, I love that draw. So GameKing electing to use the Lich Sacrifice first before the unsupervised artillery, and now he's got the choice.
Nope.
Taking the initiative with Fight Through the Pain off of
Yeah.
that. This gives Sven 2 armor this round, protecting it, and it means he gets to go first if he wants to. Although he might choose to just give it up with an Ogre Corpse Tosser, right?
Yeah, and now that Sven survives, there's a good chance that we'll see Kuro.
Blink Farven left.
Yeah.
I would love to see that play here.
I don't know about blink. There's no safe place to blink for that 1 HP
Yeah.
Farven.
Maybe it's okay to just deal the 4 damage here because then at least Farven comes back later with full health. But yeah, I like to do so. Makes Mystic Flare way better also in this lane.
So GameKing's
kinda
going to go
close.
ahead and pass. He wants that initiative. He sees the Mystic Flare on the left lane. Keep in mind the initiative carries over between rounds. If you're GameKing, you're seeing your opponent's Skywrath here with 4 health. You know something is going to go there, maybe a creep, maybe a Beastmaster, and you're afraid of the mist lane. So you decline the opportunity to play cards right so that you have initiative on the lane where it counts. He's even putting Necro there as well. So
Yeah.
this Mystic Flare is going to target the Beastmaster, and it's going to wipe Kuroky's board except for Beastmaster.
I love putting Necro here. There's multiple reasons to put it here. First, it will always be in front of the Skywrath Mage, which is already gonna die, which means there's gonna be an empty spot in front of Necrophos, which is kind of what is it? Sorry,
Squishy?
squishy. Thank you. Which is kind of squishy, and then you can kind of start buffing up its HP. The second reason is that it's really good to have the ability to Chain Frost in earlier lanes, so that you can carry over initiative early. So you definitely want a black hero here as well. So
I mean, look how important initiative is on this lane. If Kuroky had the first play here, he could use his own Mystic Flare, targeting this Necrophos, GameKing's Necrophos, dealing 6 to it, and 6 to
yes,
GameKing Skywrath.
He has one less mana though.
Yeah,
because
he
of
actually
the
can't
sensor.
Off
cast
of the
it.
Tyler Estate
Yeah,
sensor.
Yeah.
the sensor
What
is-
is important though, he could Stonehold Cloak his own Skywrath mage to make it survive.
Wow, GameKing's taking the greedy play, using Concussive Shot here instead of blocking Kuroky out of blue, mostly because he realizes that with the 5 mana, there's few things he can cast. He still does have the Dimensional Portal here, though, as well as the Smash Their Defenses, which will kill the Aghanim Sanctum.
The cloak will put him at 8 HP, but I think a Mystic Flare is still able to actually kill the Skywrath Mage. Well, not if you target the middle.
Yeah.
Skyrath is
I think
still
you
up.
wanna. I
We
think
could
you
see
wanna
the
kill the
smash.
creep though.
Yeah,
to
the
ke-
Smash now will cancel the ability to now refresh the mana, so...
Yeah, that was nice.
Denying GameKing out of another play.
You can also play the Enrage, I guess, to get the opposing Skywrath mage here.
Yep, you've got both pick a fight as well as battlefield control if you're Kuroky. We've seen control. You can just change one of the combat arrows at will. And pick a fight allows you to taunt, which does a very similar
Do you
thing.
think you should pick a fight here to get your opponent's Necrophos?
You could. Pick a fight will allow you to basically taunt with your Beastmaster, target the Necrophos off of its second ability, and even save the Skywrath. Instead, going aggressive, he's going to battlefield control to just kill the Skywrath.
You could have actually killed the Necrophos too.
I like killing the Necro more because, as you're mentioning, we're approaching that 7 mana turn.
Yeah.
And Chain Frost is such a dangerous card.
3 Chain Frost in hand.
Yeah, it's so absurd when you can cast Chain Frost in the first lane, you have initiative in the second lane, so you cast another Chain Frost here because there's a black hero. You know, then you just... It kind of becomes like a big Zeus turn where you cast 2 Thunder God's Wrath, and then you get that huge advantage that you can often deal enough damage to just get ahead in the game.
I mean, of course, it's easiest for us to say because we see 3 Chain Frost in hand, but I think sitting in Kuro's position, probably on turn 7, the most scariest thing you should prepare for is Chain Frost, and you got to play with that in mind.
No, yeah, I agree.
I will say, I think this is going to be a really difficult game for Kuro to come back from. I mean, if you look at like the board and tower metrics, it might even look like Kuro is ahead. He's got right lane. He's kind of got, I mean, he's got more units in every lane, right? And his tower health is totally fine. In fact, it's better in every lane. But he doesn't really have the hand potential that GameKing does. When these Chain Frosts come down next turn after, this board is going to get wiped.
I'm going to tell you, those units are going to disappear really fast.
Yep. They'd be gone.
The
And
best-
also, this is the mist lane, remember.
Yeah. And the mist felt like it didn't really have that much impact, right?
Yeah, I think if Kuro puts Jamoy there, I think the game looks very, very different.
Yeah.
I think GameKing played against Mist exactly how you need to. It's such a major threat that you basically are forced to fight for the lane and win it. This is going to be a ridiculous Chain Frost coming in. This will bounce 8 times for 24 damage.
Should be enough to kill everything, I say, if you have lucky enough bounces.
Yes, this will kill everything unless it bounces very unlucky.
Yeah,
So you start the Chain Frost on the Farvan.
What
is
we
it even
mean,
possible for it to fail?
so if it doesn't bounce back to Farvan, it just
Yeah.
keep bouncing left and just kills all the units.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I
is-
guess if it hits the melee creep twice, Farman doesn't die.
Correct.
Yes.
So it
But
for
it's very
Kuro's
unlikely.
sake, yeah, it shouldn't bounce back.
I would cast it though.
This wipes it. This will wipe the entire board.
Oh, it's bouncing back, so that should be enough.
Maybe.
Oh,
No, it
it's not
survives.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay,
A little
so
bit of bad luck on GameKing's end.
all I'm gonna say is Kuro played a lot of Lich when they won TI, so he's like, please get me.
But GameKing is just going to pass with initiative because Chain
My
Frost
life
gives it back. So you just pass back, and he's got the other Chain Frost mid just to clear this up even further.
Ugh, disgusting.
So Kuro can keep his heroes alive by healing it and or blinking it away.
I think you have to broadsword here.
The Stonehall plate on Necrophos, putting it in work. Every turn Necrophos survives, it just gains armor. Pretty decent item, fairly cheap. So this Necrophos is basically just not dying anytime soon.
He's
Interesting.
passing to not get the kill. Can you look at the middle lane board state real fast? Yeah, he's just want to make sure that he gets initiative to kill that Skywrath mage as
Yeah.
well.
Seems like it.
Yep. When you're GameKing right now, you've got 2 black heroes, because of course both players are running tricolor decks. And you've got 2 more Chain Frost left in the hand. Ooh, he will take the kill.
Okay, now
Yeah, I like
initiative
that.
back
Initiative is
in
lost.
Kuro, and Kuro could kill these units pretty easily.
If he wants to
Yeah,
take this
I
flare.
still think it's worth it. I mean, Chainfruits are gonna stay in hand. It's not like Kuro is anywhere close killing GameKing's tower here.
Yeah.
I think I like it because now you threaten a lot of
Oh,
damage
no.
with this Necrophos also.
Kuro relying on the combat phase, because technically his creep is gonna kill the Lich, but
Well,
Chain Frost is going
Chain
to change
Frost
that.
is one tick away from being able to kill Kuroky's entire board. So if we start at Chain Frost, only one unit will be left standing, probably a 2-1 melee creep. If the Chain Frost comes down, I'd love to see a drop here.
yeah, I think you should Chain Frost. It also denies the card from Jimoy being drawn.
Yep.
It just stops so much power and toughness. Or, I mean,
Yep,
life and
and
attack.
there it is. Taking back initiative yet again, starting on Jamoy. So there will be a 2-1 melee creep surviving this board state off the final bounce, and that's going to be it.
I think you also sacrifice the creep, draw a card, and you maybe even portal out this lich. I don't know if Hearts of Barara is powerful in the lane. I haven't really looked at the options here.
GameKing is just going to keep initiative again. I mean, you've got one more Chain Frost. Like, if Skywrath comes down and maybe like a melee creep spawns here, there's nothing wrong with just using it a third time in a row off of that chain.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ogre Corpse Tosser has a unique ability, a passive. Every time a melee creep dies, does a bit of damage, but he's actually just going to teleport the Bristleback out.
Seems like GameKing is going super aggressive now that it's cleaned up a few heroes with the Chain Frost, to be able to pressure 2 lanes as much as possible for Kuro having a harder time coming back once his hero respawn.
GameKing's still very scared of Kuro's top end, which he hasn't drawn yet, but he doesn't know that Thunderhide Alpha had Bolt of Damocles, which we saw last game almost win Kuroky the game.
And maybe one of the top 3 cards in the game, Emissary of the Quorum.
Yep.
Very, very powerful card. If this comes out early, it will buff the board every single turn.
Think about it like Mist of Awareness on steroids.
Yes.
It's completely absurd. You can put it in a lane where there's like a creep or a second creep, and then you just push the bottom every turn, and you can even TP the hero out. It doesn't matter. It will win that lane for sure by itself. And it's rarely enough to put one hero there to even stop it.
Yeah. And keep in mind, non-hero actives enter the board off cooldown. So you can tap this right away. Same with Sanctum, same with Satyr Magician, everything like that. So being able to play this on the turn you play it is insane.
Also, one of the few cards where once you take the tower, you can still do 80 because it just ramps up so fast.
Yeah, it's no joke. It scales very well.
Yeah. So Kuro doesn't have that card in hand just yet, but for his sake, let's see if he could top deck it soon because he needs the power that that card provides.
I think this was the second most important deployment of the game. This is gonna decide a lot where Kuro tries to reclaim some of the disadvantages losing from the Chain Frost, and where GameKing kind of tries to plan out ahead how efficiently he can get ahead with the advantages already having. Because getting that deploy coming back is usually, it's better to have the later deploy basically, because then you can choose where to deploy your things depending on where your opponent has their heroes. But you know,
yeah, GameKing isn't really putting out enough pressure here so far. I mean, we've Chain Frosted twice, and we can again next turn off of this deployment, but all of Kuroky's towers are still at over 30 health. This is a neat little card. Unsupervised Artillery is just going to deal 4 damage every turn.
Yeah, this lane is probably lost. Can't really go for more here. And I wouldn't want Kuro to, or sorry, GameKing to use more cards in this lane, because it's pretty clear that Kuro is trying to save the mid lane now that he put his Skywrath there.
Yep.
Good
So
Mystic Flare here can wipe out the Lich.
Yep.
And
Very
probably
happy.
the two creeps. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Bristleback can play something like Ogre Corpse Tosser in front of the Skywrath. Not too much reason not to.
And also cast Bronze Legion there as well, right?
Yep.
If you will want that.
So the first unit you play has to go into the Skywrath. If there is an opponent that is unblocked, you have to play, or specifically nothing across from them directly, you have to play a unit into them. You can't play it to, for example, the right of Bristleback. So the Corpse Tosser would have to come back first. There it is. Because you don't want to play the Bronze Legionnaire into combat with the Skywrath, who has 5 attack.
I think that the time portal the GameKing played might actually cost him a lot.
Yes.
Because now Kuro is not going to have any big problem saving this lane. He can deploy 3 heroes here next turn.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to take over this lane. And Ursa is not too far away from killing the right tower, so I mean, why not?
Yep, exactly.
It's just going to be
GameKing
no
kind of,
way that...
gave up lane 3 for free.
Yeah, there's just no way that Bristleback can... I mean, it's a powerful hero, don't get me wrong, but when it has to play against 4 heroes, that's getting to be a little harder. You know?
Not his forte. Defending is not his forte.
No.
So we see GameKing has a pretty expensive card, Cloak of Endless Carnage. So for the rest of the game, this Bristleback, whenever something next to him dies, GameKing will draw an extra card.
Okay, I like that. Pick a
this
fight.
play.
To redirect an arrow and allow him to attack the tower instead of the creep. Because at this point, you don't really want to waste your 9 damage into a 2/4 melee
Yeah.
creep.
You want to kill the tower before the Lich comes back, basically. And this is probably going to be enough. You don't have to really play more cards into this lane, I feel like, from Kuro.
Okay.
Kuroky might actually be in a winning position here. So
Yeah, I think it's very, very much ahead.
I think GameKing did not put enough pressure in the situation he needed to. Now, Kuroky doesn't really have the draws, but a triple deployment mid to defend this is going to be very good. Now, he can't really defend left. It's a little too weak. There's a black hero here, which represents Chain Frost, but Lich isn't coming back this turn.
Yeah, I think not putting
I
Skywrath
love this
Mage mid
deploy.
was also like, ugh. Yeah. That's what we talked about. There's a lot of powerful activated abilities coming in on both Beastmaster and Jamoy also, like drawing an extra card, making another unit. Yeah.
And now the game is all about this mid lane. But take a look at the difference between right and left. In Artifact, both players typically end up, at some point, maybe earlier, maybe later, giving up a lane. But Kuroky has taken right lane for next to nothing, because this Ursa is just here taking it by itself. Whereas GameKing, to take a lane, has committed 3 heroes, which is a huge difference. So this mid lane is just looking so much better for Kuroky. And this is the only lane that matters right now.
Yeah, that's why some heroes that are very good at winning on their own against other heroes, like Enchantress, etc., that makes your creep survive a lot better. Because then you can win with only one hero in one lane. If you manage to do that and kind of survive in the other lanes, having 2 heroes in each, then you can
Kinda
all of a
comes
sudden,
out.
if you lose one lane, you can move to the other. And if you do that, you win the game because you got one of the lanes with only one hero.
So Steam Cannon's very
So-
powerful. This is going to affect every single turn, dealing free 4 piercing damage. It's a little slow though, and Kuroky will start mid with a Primal Roar, very powerful,
I
locking
don't
GameKing out
know.
of options.
I kind of want to have this. If Brisbane goes right, that's like a disaster, I think.
Yeah, that might be true. That
Yeah.
might be true as well. You could try to
Maybe.
take a bit of a safer play there if you're Kuroky.
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Prove myself.
You have battlefield control. I mean, usually Rizabak can't really do it much without something like a Legion Commander or Axe to kind of... I mean, Rizabak can attack in front of itself, but it can't really interact with much more of the board if it doesn't have supporting cards like from Legion Commander or Axe, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't think you really need to stun it. You can just change the target or
Sure.
whatever. Or you just let it be there.
You could change the target and then stun it, and then push the other creeps away.
That's
And
that's
then
true. You
Push
can
for
do
more
that.
damage as well.
Yeah, I like that.
But he's gonna just stun it and push.
Ursa
for
goes left.
That is the perfect spot.
That is
to- yeah.
amazing.
Oh.
Not only are 3 heroes stranded here, but it represents both of GameKing's red heroes. So he's effectively locked out of red from the relevant lane for the rest of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, this was like a 50-50 of getting a huge advantage versus it being a disaster. But I don't think you had to go for this. Like, I think you're sufficiently ahead to not having to take a chance. I love putting as many items here as
Yes.
possible. There's gonna be a Lich and a
Especially
blue
these
hero
leather
coming down.
armors.
Yeah.
The biggest counter to Chain Frost is stacking armor, because this is not piercing damage. So Lich is going to come down next turn. He's got the 3rd Chain Frost. But look, everything on this lane except for the Yamoy on the side has at least 1 armor. So Chain Frost is going to be severely mitigated.
Yeah, I think Kuro is almost for sure gonna win. He also has enough magic. While he doesn't have initiative now, I would assume that GameKing would want to use that Steam Cannon in the first lane before entering the second lane with both of his heroes.
Exactly. That's exactly right. This is one of the prices you pay for Steam Cannon. You can look at GameKing having initiative, but the biggest problem is if he wants to use the Steam Cannon, which is very powerful, he'll have to give it up.
Yeah, I think I would have put Steam Cannon in the mid lane. It is worse against Smash, smashing the improvement, like we saw in the first game, but I still think it's worth the initiative game to have it in the first lane. Also, then you don't have to kind of predict where you have to shoot your 4 damage, which
Sure.
I think is pretty big.
You see
So
this Chain Frost is just not doing enough here.
yeah, spot weakness to draw a card. Not anything too relevant here.
Yeah.
And I guess you might as well use a Steam Cannon because you don't have initiative anymore.
Yep. And if
Yeah,
you're
I would
GameKing,
also
it's
go
very
strength
sad.
here. I think your best chance is to 80
Yeah,
the first
that's-
lane and try to survive mid.
Yeah, but this is very difficult to survive.
No, I agree.
You gotta
Don't
try
get me
to
wrong.
play Dimensional Portal and
Yeah.
just hope that Kuroky doesn't have answers. Right now, he kind of doesn't. I mean, the Roar will be good.
Do you Chain Frost here just to get initiative?
You could.
Chain Frost.
You could Chain
Yeah.
Frost here. Just
But what
to
are you
use
getting
it as an
initiative for,
card.
though?
the dimensional portal before the roar comes out,
Yeah,
keeping you in the game, but not for long enough.
He also has Kuro's decklist. He knows there's enough magic in his deck too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Shameful doesn't even do that much in the first lane because of the major amount of armor from both the items and farming.
Okay.
Interesting.
Pick off.
Pick off.
Okay.
I think GameKing is playing for the fact that I hope he has just nothing, and I'm gonna try to Chain Frost and stabilize.
And as we know,
There
Gurr
is
does,
something.
Gurr does not have nothing.
Yeah, he has more than nothing.
Primal Roar is even better here.
Primal Roar.
Primal
will
War is lethal
end
here,
out
right?
this game. The
Yeah.
stun on the Skywrath, the fear on the Lich, and that's it. That's lethal. Skywrath cannot play anything. And we're going to game 3, 1-1.
Yep.
So I think that that game was a good example of just like lane commitments and deployments, because that's really what it's getting right into it. So this is the flop. We've got Necrophos and Beastmaster not facing each other left into creeps, and then this Ursa and Sven.
Very passive opener.
I say very good spawn actually for GameKing, because Necrophos surviving the first turn is always good. Ooh, even when you get that arrow.
Oh, this is big. It reduces the attack as well.
Yep.
This is exactly what you want with Hellbear Crippler. It has the passive that will permanently reduce the attack every time it hits something.
Mhm.
So that Ursa from Kuroky is permanently at 6 attack now.
Although Bristleback is also kind of sad that it didn't have anything to attack.
That's true.
Yep.
That's definitely
Yeah.
true.
All 6 heroes not spawning into each other on the flop.
Yeah, Heartstopper Aura in hand here for GameKing is pretty sweet, especially Necrophos not dying round 1. That's actually a pretty rare. Necrophos, when you put him round 1, he generally just dies.
It's also pretty big that Kur doesn't have a strong hero to put in on turn 2.
To challenge the Necrophos, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I personally like putting Jamoyf left because it opens up the possibility to draw battlefield control and
Sure.
force the kill.
It is very scary though, I guess. I mean, I guess he doesn't know that, but I don't know, how many short swords does GameCube have?
GameKing's deck right now has 3 short swords.
Okay, so that's really scary versus Heartstopper Aura plus short sword, right?
Yep.
Because then it deals 7, and then in upkeep Join
Sure.
dies, and then it's gone for 3 turns, and
Well, not if you kill the Necro, then there's no upkeep.
true. That is if they draw the battlefield control, of
Yeah.
course.
Which
Keep in mind these players can play perfectly around what each other has, specifically just by the deck, right? So you can see your gold counts in artifacts, which means that Kuroky has seen GameKing spend 3 gold on 1 item. So Kuroky knows GameKing has either a short sword or a cloak in hand.
ooh,
There's
GameKing's got the
some-
combo.
Yeah, there's a lot of synergies in game. Not
Uh,
only so he has Heartstopper Aura,
Right.
and it triggers at the beginning of the turn before any actions can be played. That's where we're talking about upkeep, kills, etc.
right?
What Relentless Pursuit does, however, is that it changes. It picks a random black hero in the lane, and you deal 2 damage to a unit in another lane, and it also teleports the unit into that lane, kind of
Yeah.
like a blink dagger.
Exactly.
That means you can get the value out of Heartstopper Aura twice in a single turn,
And your opponent won't see it coming.
yeah, it's hard to see it coming. You can deal 4 damage to a hero in the upkeep with plus the 2 damage, plus the 2 piercing damage. And you also have a bunch of Snots, Vicious Goose
Yep.
in hand, which is Bristleback's signature card. This works super well with Heartstopper Hour in particular, and also Relentless Pursuit.
Yep.
So you kind of make the damage be even more effective, dealing up to 4 damage in the beginning of the turn. Which is a big game, don't get me wrong.
I'd like to see another Nazalgoo come out on
Yeah.
this Farfran, just proactively reducing its armor. As you mentioned, the Relentless Pursuit, the Heartstoppers, and the double goos. This is actually a really good start for GameKing.
It is awkward though, because like this is a next turn can be a really good turn to Relentless Pursuit to Farvin,
Yeah.
because it takes,
Exactly.
as I said, 4 from the Pursuit,
4
and 4 from the
Pursuit,
Heartstopper.
4 from the Heartstopper.
However, what is awkward is that it means that GameKing cannot put the Lich in the left lane, because then it means that there's a 50% chance that Lich goes on the right
Exactly.
instead,
I see.
because it picks a random black hero.
Yep.
So this is why this is
oh,
slightly awkward.
he's gonna put the Lich there anyways.
I mean, maybe Lich is fine on the right side also. I don't know, but I would have maybe liked to put it in mid and then go hard on 2 lanes. Like, kind of give up this lane almost.
So both players have kind of slow decks here. Kuroky has the Satyr
Pickoff is
Magician,
nice.
which is
Pickoff is
very
nice.
happy.
Pickoff, gonna be amazing against the Skywrath Mage,
Yeah.
who's at 4 health right now.
Yeah, it's a big game for sure.
Yeah, if it goes down before the Satyr Magician comes out, Kuroky
Yeah,
no longer
always-
has good plays here.
I would just pick off here. That means that Necro gets another health. It survives. It also means that
You can still Pursuit if you want to.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would anymore. Because this way, if Bristleback takes 5, plus I guess 7 with the short sword, there's a chance that it dies from the Necros.
Yeah, I'd love just short swording the Lich, bumping Lich's attack to 7, putting Beastmaster at 1, and then the Heartstopper Aura just killing it in the upkeep kill next turn.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the plan.
But of course, the Salve might get in the way of that. We're going to have to see how that goes. Kuroky does have Pick a Fight, which will allow him to redirect his combat. He can kill Necrophos, but it will force him to taunt as well, which, if he wants to use it, he will lose both of his heroes to the short sword.
So interestingly, Kuroky chooses to use his health potion this turn, which means the GameKing doesn't really have to commit his short sword this turn. Maybe he can elect to play it in a different lane instead.
Yep.
Nope, he's gonna short sword anyways.
Now that the short sword is committed, the Pick a Fight does represent a trade specifically, so Kuroky does not want to make that 1-for-1 exchange.
Alright, does not go for Pursuit, which makes sense.
Yep.
Clear the deck also gets... No, it's only 6 damage for Foreman, I guess.
I'd love to see a Satyr Magician. He's going to play the zombie in front of the Skywrath Mage. It will kill it in 2 turns if nothing else happens here. And
Zombie's nice, pressuring blue heroes. You don't want to waste a spell on a zombie, but it's kind of also killing your blue heroes, so it's...
At first I didn't like this play, but it kind of makes sense, because otherwise you can just concussive shot the City Magician and it dies from the...
The cleave. That's Sven,
Well, not the cleave, because you put it in front of Skywrath Mage, but with the concussive shot, it's enough with the Skywrath Mage anyways to get it, yeah.
Okay, we're going to see the Prowler Vanguard come down here to block 8 damage.
Yep.
How do you feel about sacrificing creeps?
Unfortunately for Kuroky, Clear the Deck is enabled by this Prowler Vanguard.
Yeah,
if
that's
GameKing wants. Clear the Deck gives him +4 cleave, but because this Farvan has -1 armor, it will be +5 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like cleaving here.
I mean...
What?
There's no reason not to cleave, right? It's just free almost, yeah.
Yep, you're just
Yeah, I
basically
mean,
getting
yeah,
a
for
free
sure.
kill. Unless
Like if you
want
don't want to
save it.
use the cleave maybe in mid or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. It's not going to get that much better than this. There's not a lot of creeps on Kuro's side anyways that you have to take care of. Like, he isn't really going wide at the moment, so I think the cleave is just fine to use as a hero kill.
This game's going very good for GameKing so far, but he still needs to end this game soon because Kuroky's still going to be ramping into his good options. He doesn't actually have tools to get them out early, but Emissary of the Quorum, Thunderhide, Alpha, and even some of his later drops are going to represent game-winning threats.
Yeah, I was going to say this game is developing in a very similar way compared to the last
Exactly.
game, right? Where GameKing is, killing heroes left and right, but wasn't actually doing that much damage to the tower. And then as the late game came, Kuro just kind of overpowered, even through multiple Chain Frosts. But I think the one big difference is that he just bought a red Mist Maul.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is going to give you the ability to push that final points of damage through. So I think that item is going to be a big difference maker this game.
What do you think about casting Relentless Pursuit on the zombie here?
So using Relentless Pursuit
on the zombie
will just kill it for free. Kind of saves your Skywrath, although you might use like Furland Mantle on it. And you go in front of the Yamoy guaranteed. Now, what's not guaranteed is which hero gets pulled.
Yeah.
But I think that's fine, because if Lich goes there, it saves the Lich. If Necrophos goes there, you can put Furline Mantle on the Lich, and him by himself can kind of keep this lane. I don't know. Might still not be correct, but it's...
I do like this play. I do definitely like it. GameKing's thinking about it now. That's what he's trying to decide if he wants to do it. Maybe he'll target something other than the zombie, but I think the zombie is the obvious choice here.
You could also control the 50-50 by porting out the black hero as well. Although
I
I'm not
actually
sure
like
about that.
GameKing passing here, because as it stands, this Beastmaster is gonna get to taste the upkeep kill from Necrophos Aura, which is, of course, pretty big.
Yep. There's still that Pick a Fight, though, that we haven't forgotten about.
I don't think it does that much right here, though, right?
Ooh, now it does a
Well,
lot
now
more.
it does a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, Pick a Fight, the Beastmaster could fight the Necrophos,
Necrophos.
and then the creep still gets the kill on the Lich. Yeah.
Yep.
He's got a very good hand here. Stonehall Elite and Bronze Legion.
And then I think we're gonna see the Furline Mantle on the Necrophos, right?
Yeah. Or on the Lich, depending on what he values more.
Yeah, but you wanna get the upkeep kill on the
Sure.
Beastmaster. I guess Beastmaster is still dying because of the. Maybe even Relentless Pursuit.
There's still a lot of options left for both.
Yeah, I
players.
actually like Relentless Pursuing then. If
Okay.
you get the Lich away,
Ooh.
you can put Red Mismal on the Necrophos, and
I think
then
you have to
Beastmaster
put
still
now.
dies.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, because of this curve on the Bronze Legionnaire and this pick a fight, all 3 heroes are dying, which is really favorable for Kuroky because it's only
Yeah.
one of his and he has 2 creeps left over. I
Yep.
think you got to take the pursuit.
He also has 2 things to. He can also change, or he has 2 heroes to deploy here too. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's gonna be a while before GameKing can redeploy or deploy a new hero.
Okay. Looks like the Furline Mantle is gonna go on.
If he doesn't cast Relentless if he elects to cast Relentless Pursuit, I don't like playing the Mantle first. I think
It looks like he's gonna TP out the Lich at this point, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes maybe that's even better. Yeah,
I like the
I
Maul
like
and the TP.
portaling it out. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's better. I think.
Yeah, this Maul is great. Putting it on something tanky is just going to start chugging away with its siege damage. And the Heartstopper will be killing the Beastmaster next turn. That's just so good when that happens.
Yep.
It's just dead for another. This Beastmaster is already dead. There's nothing Kuroky can do about it, and it's respawning 1 turn later for free.
This makes GameKing so much more happy about his play because the reason to Relentless Pursuit would be to save the Skywrath Mage, but if Kuro is gonna commit Mystic Flare anyways to kill it, he's very much fine with this outcome. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna see the Stonehall leak come down.
And
As
that's
the
gonna
passive.
be
That's
met with the Viscous Nasal Goo.
Yeah, I would have done that. That's a scary card. Stone Elite. When it kills like 2 creeps, then it's almost out of hand. You
It's
have
like
to
a
spend a real card. Like
2/6
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
yeah.
As Lumi mentioned, this is one of the scariest cards. You put this into a melee creep, and unless it's answered immediately, it grows out of control. A lot scarier than a Savage Wolf from Lycan.
Yeah, because of that 2 armor, it's just so much harder to deal damage to it. Because even if Savage Wolves grows every turn, if it gets blocked by a couple of creeps along the way, it's gonna be way easier to deal with it, which is the opposite with Stone Elite basically. Everything that kind of scales, like card advantage is really good in Gauntlet, but virtual card advantage is when something scales on itself also. Like at some point Savage Wolves are better than heroes, so
Sure.
you know, and that kind of gives you an advantage over time, which is a powerful thing.
So this Heartstopper aura is going to trigger Beastmaster dead on arrival.
Zum zum.
That's why we were talking about Mist of Avernus being one of the best card ever. It just gives you virtual advantage for
Yeah,
one entire
exactly.
lane for
Yeah.
many turns.
Yeah, it doesn't actually draw a card, but it's virtual advantages over
Yeah.
time for sure.
So we're going to have to see that Relentless Pursuit we were talking about last turn be used this turn. Killing the Jamoy and kind of re-controlling mid lane would be great.
Again, it's a little awkward because you don't know which black hero you're sending over, but either case, you're getting the kill regardless.
Got the Assassin's Apprentice he drew. A bit of an early game creep.
Oh, is that the right one? Did you want that one over?
No, I don't think so.
I think you want the Lich over.
There
Yeah.
it goes. Jamoy is dead. And it's still, it's exactly like you were saying, Lumi. This game is going exactly like last game. GameKing is just killing these heroes over and over again, but these towers are also healthy. This tower is 25, it's only taking 2. It's taking 0. The
Yeah.
other 2 are over 30. And Kuroky is just sitting here chuckling with his Emissary and his Thunderhide Alpha in hand just waiting for these to come down.
I think the most important thing for Kuro this turn is Jamoy being able to live.
Yes.
And live at a full health. So, and the reason being is we're on a 7 mana turn, and if you look at Kuro's hand, he's got some very powerful 8 and 9 mana cards. So right now, Jamoy in the final, or sorry, not Jamoy.
Farven, yes.
Farven, yeah, sitting in a very compromised position. So maybe we'll see a TP out or something like that. But next turn is when Kuro is going to start taking things over.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I mean, the fact that it's the singleton green hero, this is the weakness of tricolor, because you're forced to have one color that you have one hero of. That's kind of a weak point. You got to protect your green. If Farvan dies, you are locked out of these.
This also spells the importance of having a lot of creeps in your deck. That's the reason why GameKing can't really deal damage towards Kuroky, even though he's getting ahead of killing your opposing heroes. Like, sure, he's killing them, but if he doesn't have extra creeps to actually pressure that advantage, it doesn't really do anything. You know?
Well, it looks like this is going to be the lane that he will pressure quite a bit. He has that red mist maul that we talked about on the
Yeah.
Necrophos.
Important pickup.
This is actually dealing almost as much damage to the tower as if
That's-
Necrophos had just hit it himself.
Yep.
That's the other way you can get ahead of killing your opposing heroes, is that you have powerful enough items that push for a lot of damage or
Right.
response units. But they're a little bit harder to come by, like Horn of the Alpha, for example.
So Kuroky has to TP this Farvan, right? Emissary turn is coming up. If this Farvan dies, it will be down for the Emissary turn. And it might not even be necessarily reliable for the Thunderhide turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an interesting choice where he played at 6-16 as well.
Yeah. He could have TP'd out for him first and placed it in front of Bristleback.
Yeah.
I would have loved that.
But no, I don't know.
It just depends if you want to
It's
go
dice in
more
2 turns,
offensive or not, right?
Yeah, but it also trades against Bristleback in 2 turns, and you kind of want to strand the Bristleback here. I mean,
Right. So we are
Bristleback is not winning this lane, I don't think.
Ogre Corpse Tosser will deal an extra 2 damage to the tower,
Okay.
throwing a melee creep.
I don't know. Bristle hitting pretty hard.
Ah,
dude.
it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So where is Farvan going?
That's the big question.
Yeah. It's kind of scary to go into the lane with the black heroes because Chain
Exactly.
Frost is ever present. Also, let's not forget about GameKing's Lost in Time. We keep talking about these very high value cards in Kuro's hand. You could just lock them all out.
Skywrath left. Lost in Time is really scary. This
Yeah.
is one of the strongest lock cards in the game. When you play this, 3 random cards from the opponent's hand are selected to not be playable for 3 turns each.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's a lot of pressure on this Skywrath mage if he puts Farman on the right side. If he would have done this, I kind of feel like it would have been better to just let Farman die and let it come back to cast Thunderhide Alpha, maybe. Like, I don't know. This is scary. Now you're losing 2 lanes almost for sure.
Heartstopper, God Strength. None of these cards do anything, at least against the Skywrath.
I think he's going to drop Lost in Time. I
Yeah,
think
he
he's
has
gonna
to. He
open with
almost
this
has
here.
to,
He
yeah.
sees it's the big drop turn. He can maybe even put Kuroky on having the Emissary in the hand. The play he did with the Teleporter Scroll really telegraphed that.
Okay, he elects to do nothing.
I like that though, because
Okay.
you're not scared about the cards from Skywrath Mage.
Reducing
Then
odds
again,
with
Foresight makes it worse, but that's like the only blue card that makes it worse.
Right.
Like if there's blue cards being played here, that doesn't really affect much of the board. There's a higher chance you can hit a higher valuable target with
Actually,
Lost in Time.
We also might see a God Strength here. Keep
Yeah.
in mind, Sven's Cleave scales with his attack, so even
Okay.
though it's overkilling this creep, it does threaten the
Yeah.
Skywrath. That's happening here.
Yeah.
Skywrath does have the salve.
Look at that Sven carry go. Stopped being a carry in Dota, started becoming one in Artifact
I mean,
instead.
he's a pretty bad carry here too. Let me tell you, it's
Shh.
he needs a lot of items. All right, so is he gonna save Skywrath Mage?
He's good at pushbacking lanes though.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
The fact that Lost in Time didn't come down this turn is really huge. I mean, if that had come down and locked out some of these high value cards, that would have
Foresight
been
makes
very
it so
good.
much worse though.
Yeah.
It's just such a high chance that it hits something irrelevant.
Okay, Sanctum's gonna go on the first lane. Okay.
Probably prepping for next turn to get something powerful, maybe. Problem is, has so many green cards of his only green splash.
Both
I think,
players just
I
playing
think he
items.
had to go for putting Far in here. I would have liked that.
You know the concussive shot is coming down. It looks like the healing salve is just basically forcing that out here. GameKing is going to win left very handily, and mid is a major threat as well. So if you're Kuroky, basically your plan is Emissary here, slam that down, and then presumably try to start defending mid.
Yeah.
I don't think mid's defendable. I think,
No.
Yeah.
He has too much direct damage. He has
I think you have to
siege and-
defend left.
Yeah.
Left might be the better chance. I mean, Emissary is very powerful here, but this isn't the lane you want it. It's a gigantic Emissary. It does force out the short sword and save the Ursa, but
I think
it's
this
not
is
gonna do
over. You
enough.
need to draw a roar, otherwise it's just
Yep.
game over for sure. 100%.
yes.
It is good that Farvan actually dies. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't think you want Farvan here anymore.
Get OTP, man.
Get OTP, get him out. Okay, so
deploy
it's
left.
Beastmaster and Jamoy left for Kuro,
Yeah.
and he has to hold for a while.
He might only have to hold for 1 turn. It's possible he can find the Bolt of Damocles and almost,
Oh yeah,
almost
we
kill
also
this tower.
forgot the many 8 mana plus cards that Kuro has. This deck does it all.
Roar is a very good top deck, but
Yes.
GameKing has initiative. Chainfrost draw here might just end the game on the spot. If he doesn't find it, he has Incarnation.
Incarnation's
Okay,
pretty good, yeah.
Neither was strong.
I think you cast Incarnation first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty safe play.
Yeah.
You get infinite mana to start your turn.
Well, it also helps against Mystic Flare a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And
Still didn't find the Chain Frost.
I don't like that. I would have played it.
Okay, so Mystic Flare here from Kuro could lock out black cards by killing the Lich.
You've got to respect that. I mean, if you're Kuro, you may be thinking Chain Frost doesn't have it. He respects it. Lich down. No Chain Frost opportunity.
He could have drawn a card as well, but he also has Sanctum, so.
I don't want to underestimate Kuro, but for some reason I felt like he didn't think about that you could put it on the far right side from
But
previous
that's
games.
how Mystic Flare works in Dota. He would have known that.
I don't know.
All right, so Jamoy can still draw a card. You see all these glowing buttons on these heroes. They are abilities that could be activated.
Yeah.
That's Bolt of Damocles. Oh boy. So all Kuro needs to do is one damage.
And
Can
this Call of the Wild,
Yeah.
if GameKing doesn't respect it by picking off
he
this
doesn't have a black hero.
3/3.
He
Wow,
doesn't have a
this-
black
Yeah,
hero
he
anymore.
can't stop it.
This is great.
He needs to draw something with spot weakness that will stop
Wow.
this little boar from hitting him for 3 damage in the face.
Well, he could also Lost in Time and lock it too.
All right.
So-
Time to Lost in Time.
It's lost in time.
Yeah.
There are
Bum,
8
bum, bum, bum.
cards. 8 cards.
Oh, he hits both. Okay.
It's so important that he played it earlier also,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he drew it this exact turn, right? This draw is from Jamoy.
Okay.
So that he didn't play Lost in Time earlier means he could never hit
Oh,
it.
and the arrow didn't hit anyways. And there
Well-
was a Slay, but
well, he doesn't have a black hero here.
true,
though.
true. Okay, so is it ever correct to play Smash the Defenses on your own Sanctum to draw cards?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you do it here?
That I don't
That's
know yet.
dangerous. Farfrain's going to be deploying next turn, and you want to alpha and play some other units. I
Yeah.
would not do it in this case.
Not this turn, I don't
But
think.
you do smash your own improvements a surprising amount of the time in this
Yeah.
game.
Okay, Necro going off on his own. He can cast Pick Off, and he will.
Pick off of the Beastmaster does disable Roar as a top deck option for Kuroky. He does have the Farfrain coming down. He needs to rely on this Thunderhide and his green units saving him.
Oh, what a game.
This is a big boy spell being played here.
This Bolt of Damocles is never going to be played. I mean, the game will have ended by the time this is unlocked.
I
There's
think
no
you
way.
should click the quorum here, by the way. I don't.
Yeah.
I think, like, there's a.
There's a chance you could do 80 here.
Yeah, exactly. You could go for initiative, but this way you're gonna deal 80 in 2 turns. So,
Yep.
I think
It
you
is a
wanna.
really major threat. GameKing is sitting on nothing with his hand. Even if he top decks Chain Frost, he can't play it. His black is disabled for 1 turn. This game is not ending this next turn.
This is a crazy game.
Kuroky might actually be 80ing.
Yeah.
right lane.
Oh,
Yeah.
now we can Thunderhide Alpha. He has so many creeps. He
Yeah,
goes
yeah, yeah.
wide.
Oh, these are amazing creep spawns for him.
Yeah. Slay is locked down for this 1 turn, so.
Double deploy left. The fact that this Slay can't be played is game-winning for Kuroky. Is this it?
Yeah.
GameKing needs to draw an answer to this Thunderhide Alpha.
He needs
Well,
to draw
GameKing could
creep.
draw creeps,
Yeah,
right?
he can draw creep.
Dimensional portals or just actual,
Oh. Dimensional Porter would be this.
yeah, Bronze Legionnaire. That things like that.
Foresight also pretty big draw when you have infinite mana.
Okay.
Who would have known that infinite mana and drawing cards is a good combination?
Ooh, Battlefield Control is amazing because if your Thunderhide Alpha gets like a bad error or something, you could correct that.
Yeah.
So do you start off with okay,
Going off.
spot weakness,
Going
drawing
off.
more spot weakness?
Going off with spot weakness. Not
Okay.
bad.
It's just multicast?
No, yeah. Sorry, I didn't get that joke. By the way, the reason that GameKing is able to play all these cards is because of Incarnation of
Ooh,
Salamene,
big
which
game.
refreshes all the mana.
This creep gives him basically infinite mana.
Yeah.
I would want Kuro to hold on to his Alpha as long as possible here.
Yes. And likewise, I kind of want GameKing to hold on to his D portal as long as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, smart. Start off with the
Yeah, I
the
like
Bull
this.
Martyr.
This kind of forces
GameKing gives
GameKing's hand, I think.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but at the same time, you still have to hold on to
I
this.
mean,
You can
GameKing's
still play
taking
passive.
10 though. You're
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
10.
exactly. You
Yeah,
can't
you have
take
to
10.
portal. So now you refresh and you give him the Big Daddy.
That's right. Maybe you can play a
Probably
Vanguard first, even.
for sure.
Yeah.
This disrupts the potential for a curve, even without using battlefield control.
I think Kuro's done it.
Yeah.
There is nothing left in GameKing's
Yeah, he's
hand.
winning this.
Yep. There's no way for this to go through. The Red Mist Maul will deal 5 damage, but it will never be enough. Right tower's already taken.
This is-
Thunderhide Alpha.
And here you can see really how different the games can play out in Gauntlet. If you compare it to my games versus this is just a different world.
Yeah. I like how when you walked in, you sat down, you saw Thunder High Alpha and
Yeah.
Bow of Damocles, and you're like, what is this? It's very different.
I'm like, this is quite the brew.
Yeah. But it's doing it. It's gonna carry Kuro to top 4.
Don't get me wrong, it's really good with expensive, powerful cards in,
Yep.
in draft. I think my deck is more of an anomaly.
Yes.
It's very not very often you can go so aggressive.
GameKing sees the refresh. He's scared.
Uh-oh.
He knows he's about to get
Yeah.
slammed, and he knows he has no answer. And
Yep.
this is just the weakness of your black heroes being targeted.
Oh, here we go.
Who needs Vault of Damocles when you can deal 25, right?
What an
Alright.
absolute unit.
Thunder Chad Alpha coming down. And I've never seen actually Thunder High Alpha finish a game in this nature. This is the first time ever. And it's a sweet sight.
Same here. Going out on your own terms, casting Sanctum, where you have
Double
Incarnation.
infinite mana. Seems good.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
Oh,
it.
wow.
Kuroky is going to take this series